Switzerland is a country that feels like a dream, especially if you love the outdoors. With rolling green hills, snow-capped peaks, waterfalls, cowbells ringing all around you in the mountains, and alpine villages, you feel like you've entered a postcard. Most visitors know about the most famous spots in the Alps for hiking trails, toboggan rides, and panoramic viewpoints, but those places can also be very crowded with tourists. In this video, I want to take you somewhere that's more of a local secret and a hidden gem that I completely fell in love with. Hiking trails off the Meiringen-Hasliberg cable cars in the town of Meiringen. Meiringen is just a short 30-minute train ride from Interlaken, a 15-minute train ride from Brienz, and if you're coming from Lucerne, the train actually stops in Meiringen before reaching Interlaken. So it's very easy to reach this lesser-known town. It's known for two very different things: the world of Sherlock Holmes and some of the most spectacular natural wonders in Switzerland, like the Aare Gorge, the Reichenbach Falls, and the Meiringen-Hasliberg funicular that takes you up to a mountain paradise of hiking and views. Here we are in Meiringen. When you first arrive, it feels very peaceful and unhurried compared to other touristy towns. It's famous for its connection with Sherlock Holmes because in the story, this is where he was said to have died. There's a Sherlock Holmes museum in the town square along with his statue. There's also a hotel with his name as well. In the town center, you find restaurants, small shops, and hotels. The Meiringen-Hasliberg funicular is only 15 minutes walk from the train station. The Reichenbach Falls is about a 30-minute walk. And the Aare Gorge can easily be reached by taking the train just a few stops and then walking another 15 minutes. In town, you see the signs guiding you to the direction to walk to reach these locations. Here we are at the Meiringen-Hasliberg funicular. You can see all the hiking trails that are possible here, as well as the cable car stops along the way. This is the day pass. You scan it to get on. The lift takes you up through alpine meadows and forests with stops at Reuti, Bidmi, and Megas Alp, before continuing by cable car all the way to Alpentower at the top. Each stop has its own character. Some have a restaurant, and all have trails that stretch into the mountains. The views along the way are breathtaking. If you've watched my video on how to get around Switzerland, you'll see that I recommended the Berner Oberlander Pass for getting around and to get the best discount in the Jungfrau region. The great thing about the pass was that the cable cars in Meiringen were also fully covered. I could get on and off at any point and as many times as I wanted. You show your pass and you get a day pass that you can scan to get on. Here we are passing Reuti. You have to get off here and either switch to a cable car to go further up or stay and enjoy the views and hike in the area. I continued to go further up. And here we are at the next stop, Bidmi. I rode up to Megas Alp, where you have to change to the cable car to go further up the mountain. At Megas Alp, there's a restaurant with incredible views of the valley, a little store, and bathrooms. I headed all the way to the top to Alpen Tower. Here at the top, you get a 360 view all around you on a clear day. There's a restaurant that serves breakfast and lunch, and there are bathrooms here as well. Whether you're hiking or just riding up to enjoy a meal with a view, it's definitely worth the trip. You feel like you're standing on top of the world. It's also a popular spot for paragliders, and I'll show you some taking off in a little bit. You'll see signs here and all along the way that show you the direction to go for different trails and how long it will take to get there. I did 2 different hikes on 2 different days. One from Alpen Tower down to Megas Alp, the other from Megas Alp to Reuti. Look at the incredible view from the restaurant. And here are some paragliders launching from the cliffs. The first time I came here, Alpen Tower was fully covered in fog, so I went back down and hiked from Megas Alp to Reuti. That hike is like a fairy tale. Then I came back the next day, where it was an absolutely gorgeous day, and hiked from Alpen Tower down to Megas Alp. By the way, these paragliders that took off now were in the air for several hours because even after I got back down to the bottom, I could still see them flying. Let me take you along the trails. First, from Alpen Tower to Megas Alp. You can walk alone, with friends, or with your family. I felt extremely safe hiking alone. The trails are very well marked, so it's almost impossible to get lost. Along the way, you'll see cows grazing in the meadows and hear the soft sound of cowbells echoing across the mountain paths. A few travel tips. Always bring layers since mountain weather changes quickly. It can be really warm and then really cold as you go higher up or if clouds come in. Carry a refillable water bottle. Switzerland's trails have natural water troughs with the most refreshing, great-tasting, pure water to refill your bottle. And don't forget proper shoes. No flip-flops because the terrain is constantly changing. And of course, a sun hat or sunglasses. You'll find different types of gates along the trail that you need to open to pass through. They're there for the cows to keep them in certain areas. I walked the trail down to Megasad and then took the cable car back up to have lunch. The cows were really friendly, sometimes standing right in the middle of the path, but easy to pass by. Here we are back at Megasad where we changed cable cars earlier. I did this hike from Megasad to Reuti on my first day when Alpentower was covered in fog. And more signs showing you the direction of the trail and amount of time you need to get there. This one was like a fairy tale because along the trail you have what's called the Mugenschutz Dwarf Adventures that makes you feel like you've stepped into a storybook. The word Zwerg means dwarf and Weg means path, so this is the path of the dwarves. It's based on folklore stories of the Hasliberg-Dwarf that lives in the Halseytal Valley. The trail takes you along a treasure hunt that's numbered, like this first one. Along the trail, you find tiny dwarf houses, caves, bridges, little scenes of dwarves climbing trees or chopping wood, and stories giving you a task to do. You can see how fun this path is for children and even for adults. There are also bathrooms along the trail as well. On weekends, this trail is filled with local families, but during the week, I felt like I had the whole mountain to myself. This one was my favorite one, the little house with dwarf beds and tables and their clothes hanging on the line. And there's an oversized chair for resting. Arriving back to Reuti, I took the funicular back down. From Meiringen downtown or the funicular station, it's an easy walk to the Reichenbach Falls. You can walk for about 25 minutes or take a short bus ride. A train carries you up a steep track to the waterfall. You can see Sherlock Holmes here again. You can also continue walking up the trail to different views of the waterfall from further above. At the top of this footpath are these signs in case you want to go further, or you can just return back and go down with the train. Now we're heading to the Aare Gorge, one of Switzerland's many natural wonders. A short train ride from Meiringen takes you close to the entrance. You cross a river and walk around 15 minutes from the train station. There are actually two entrances and the train stops at both. The train stop is called Aare Schlucht Ost or West, basically east or west. I went to the second one at Aare Schlucht Ost. You can either enter from one and walk one way to the other, or you can return back to the same entrance you entered from. The gorge is a deep, narrow canyon carved over thousands of years by the Aare River. Walking through it feels like entering another world. The pathway goes through tunnels and wooden walkways hanging from the rocks. You have the sound of the river rushing beneath you and the cliffs towering above. In the summer, only during specific dates, the gorge is lit up on certain evenings and the opening hours are extended, making it a more magical experience to walk in the dark. I happened to make it on the very last night of the summer hours where it was lit. The Ost entrance pathway offers narrower paths with more dramatic views, whereas the West entrance is wider and less dramatic as you walk along the river. Even though Meiringen is not as famous as Interlaken or Grindelwald, it has incredible natural beauty and hiking adventures and the Aare Gorge that make it absolutely worth the visit. You can either stay in the town of Meiringen itself or come for the day from the nearby more well-known cities. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Please remember to subscribe, it's free, and like and share the video with your friends and family. It really means a lot and helps me continue creating more content to inspire your travels. See you in the next video to explore more beautiful places.